Story time. So let's tell the story of the time that I damaged. Honestly, I feel like I look like a model. I feel like I could go and take some pictures somewhere right now and have some lit pictures.
Hi there, and welcome back to Twisted Crimes. Today's story will be about Shana Donahue, also known as the Napp Queen, who was stabbed and strangled to death by her longtime boyfriend because she wanted him out of her apartment. His comments to the cops after the murder were, "It was like something in me. Like the demon in me wanted to kill, and once I killed her I came alive." Based on this story, we will be heading to Washington, D.C., a city famous for its museums, memorials, and the metro. It's also the home of our country's political leadership, with notable buildings like the White House and the Capitol building. Shana Donahue, 26, was a teacher at Fresh Farm Food Prints, visiting D.C. public schools and teaching students about nutrition.
Hey guys, it's Shana, aka Napp Queen. I get asked a lot on Instagram about my vegan journey and what inspired me to be vegan. How do I do it? How do you give up eating meat and cheese and dairy products? And I just can't do it. It's not a realistic goal. These are just different things that I get a lot on Instagram. And
she worked at elementary schools in Ward 6, 7, and 8. Teaching children how to eat healthy. Shana was also big on YouTube, where she talked about herself and also did hair. She had a boyfriend just like any other person, but it happened that they grew up together and were sweethearts at Oxon Hill High School. Back then, when Shana Donahue left for college in South Carolina on a basketball scholarship, her boyfriend, Daniel Fleetwood, along with her father, drove her to school and helped her move into her dorm. They had dated each other for a very long time but broke up the relationship for some years, only to run into each other and starting dating again some few months before the incident, thereby letting him move into her apartment. Now let's fast forward to the present. On this fateful Thursday, DC police was called to a situation where Fleetwood had stabbed and strangled Donahue in the apartment the two briefly shared in 2900 block of N Street in Southeast Washington. A neighbor who went to check on Shana saw her body. Another neighbor called 911 and described hearing a loud fight from the apartment the night before. Officers arrived to find a horrific scene. Shana's body was in a fetal position, near a glass table. There were puncture wounds to her neck, stomach, right biceps, right thigh, hip and shoulder blade. Bite marks were found on her right wrist. There was blood on the door, the walls, a pair of scissors and a knife. As police were on the scene, Fleetwood walked into the apartment, his clothes covered in blood, and asked to speak to Shana, telling police that afterward everything could be explained. Fleetwood, age 26, told police that he had been in a fight with Shana the night before and that he left the apartment. Homicide detectives took Fleetwood to police headquarters, where he agreed to be interviewed so he can lay out his accounts of what had happened. Fleetwood told detectives that he and Shana got into a shouting match and she ordered him to leave the apartment. He said they began pushing each other. Then Fleetwood told the detectives that Shana stabbed him first with a pair of scissors and that he grabbed the scissors out of her hands and defended himself. Daniel told the cops during his interview that, "She tried to get me really angry on purpose and I don't know why. It's like a thing all women have. Yeah, she was trying to get me upset. A man has to die to be truly in love. I have never done this before. I think it's a devilish type of thing. It's hard to explain. I can see it. When you are in a relationship with a girl, it's like a psych thing." He said that the two began stabbing each other and that she stopped. But he continued, "It was like something in me, like the demon in me wanted to kill, and once I killed her I came alive." Daniel also told police he had been drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana before the fight. Authorities determined that he wasn't being truthful, and with the evidence at hand he was charged with first-degree murder while armed. When Daniel's case was called for an online hearing in D.C. Superior Court, his lawyer argued that Daniel, who did not have any prior arrests or convictions, had acted in self-defense and should be released from custody. This was a domestic situation that clearly really got out of hand, his lawyer argued. Herman ordered that Daniel be held in the D.C. jail until his next hearing in July. Shana's supervisor and friend Jennifer Mampera, director of education at Fresh Farm, said Donahue had complained to colleagues that Daniel had been abusive to her in the past. Donahue had broken off her engagement to Daniel some time ago, Mampera said, so colleagues were surprised to hear she allowed him to move into her apartment. They always had to put out a public comment saying how deeply saddened they were to hear about her passing. She was described as a positive influence both at work and on her YouTube videos.
If you have dry scalp, try to correct that. If you have a lot of buildup from protective styling and you know that you don't cleanse your scalp as good as you should, take care of that, because that's like your foundation. That's where the hair grows from. You know, if that's not healthy, that's really not going to encourage hair growth.
All this happened just because she didn't want him anymore and wanted him out of her apartment, but he decided to kill her instead of just letting go and let her live her life. Shana's father's comments regarding his daughter was that she was a good soul. A very good soul. I don't know what could have caused him to do this. Our condolences to her friends and families. May Shana's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe and see you guys in the next video.
Make sure you hit the notification button next to the subscribe button, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you like me, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for clicking my video and tuning into my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.